peace, and happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past. Right now, I want to speak on some of the ascension symptoms that we may be going through right now. Matter of fact, somebody hit me too. Not even say hit me too, but spoke on some ascension symptoms that I always experienced and didn't really know whether it was an ascension symptom or not in essence, which everything a part of our growth is an ascension symptom. But when we talk, matter of fact, and when we talk about so what's the difference between an ascension symptom and the rest of our growth? We're always ascending. Yes, that is true, but there are certain points where we get certain strong surges of you could just say downloads, energetic information, for lack of a better word. Because matter of fact, getting into that vibe of not even dealing with words, but basically, our system is being overwhelmed by, some energy, some energy from, matter of fact, high vibrational energy that in most cases too our body not used to dealing with, and is working to integrate, with integrating that high vibration within the body. There's another thing too what's going on. The shamanic resonance is spiking, is going higher and higher. Matter of fact, is one of the symptoms too, as well as you could hear quote unquote Gaia vibrate. You could hear Mama Matrix. That's another thing too, for not forgetting. As much as we connect to this matrix, because our body is of this matrix, is always remembering that this is a matrix. You know what I'm saying? And it's breaking down. The more and more we're awaking, and raising to these high vibrations, we're realizing, all right, this is just some type of little, game, simulation that we created for ourselves to learn lessons. And although, the experiences we're having may seem like, it's quote unquote real, and again, because they are real in essence, but again, it's not the true essence of our being. Again, we here in a simulation playing a game. So it's staying in remembrance of that. But, again, back to hearing the little noise, you could hear the ears ringing, but you're basically hearing the shamanic resonance raising up higher. Matter of fact, it would normally be like 7.8, something like that. Matter of fact, at this point, it may be at around 10 point something hertz. That's what something telling me to say. So maybe that's what it is. But around that vibe. But again, it's raising it. And as the shamanic resonance raising, that mean again, the energies in your lower chakras are, moving around a little different, you know what I'm saying? Because it got these high vibrations coming out of the ground now. So now it has to, again, integrate with these high vibrations, because some of our lower chakras are used to vibing with the frequency of Earth, at the 7.8 frequency, around that area. But as it's spiking, it's getting used to our body, and the energetic bodies are getting used to, dealing with that spike in the vibration. Another thing that's going on, telepathy activation may give us speech impediments. Telepathy is a form of us that, that the way we speak and mostly spoke at one time more, which we're getting back to that, but it's like with our subconscious mind speaks through symbols. So telepathy, like a lot of people think, because again, you're so used to communicating as a human, you would think telepathy is just sending words by thought. And it's like, nah, our subconscious is way more deeper, where we're not even using words. We sending, pictures to each other. We sending whole scenarios and whole little movies. You know what I'm saying? That's how we communicate on a telepathic level, and that may, mess with our speech and our logic. The logic and the speech, that's words. And matter of fact, and speaking is one of the lowest vibrations of communication. Again, we send just by standing in each other energy fields. We practicing telepathy indirectly. Not straight up, but just say, for instance, by being in each other's auric fields, there's information being exchanged. And even if may not in that moment where you feel like, all right, I get what you just said or something like that, later on in the day you'll pick up on, again, the energy or some information from that person, from being in their field, like, 'cause that's how serious it is too about energy and like protecting ourselves from, others' energy, because of course we attract things with what we focus on and stuff like that, but also being aware of, the fact that no matter how much you may stay positive and, focus on just the good, there are vibrations that, because you focus on the good, they trying to take a bite at that, so of course you have that vibe as well. But again, with the telepathy activation, may have like little speech impediments. Matter of fact, also, it was just something I heard. Matter of fact, shout out to the High Self channel on YouTube. They be having a lot of, updates. And again, updates that resonate, like what some of them resonate with me. Like, I know that that's a message from High Self that, I may have not and more so, what a lot of times with videos is more so confirmation and not the message itself. I done been got the message, but like my higher self, like, just so you can really, really know you're fucking right, hear this video. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times that's what that is, and I do have to get out of that mode of just, of not trusting my insights and stuff like that, Like, again, and at one time I was good with that, but kind of integrating with the physical world, I kind of integrated a little, maybe, I ain't gonna say too much, but to a certain extent too. And sometimes I feel like too much to my liking, when I'm feeling like I forget that I could manifest things with these, and knowing that this is a matrix, and knowing that, like, I get back into that mode of like, well, with economics and the business plan and stuff like that, it's like, man, no, we gods on the human experience. We need to be reprogramming our subconscious mind and, again, manifesting the world that we want around us, fuck the dumb shit. But anyway, so again, extrasensory perception upgrades, extrasensory, your sensory perception, that's more than just your average 5 senses, Also, like with channeling and receiving information, which in essence, that's what a download is. Not necessarily channeling. Channeling is like when we're, like, if I talk about Pimp C, I'm channeling Pimp C right now. Like, that's that's more of a channel in essence. It's like where you connecting with a specific energy, and allowing, and communicating, allowing for that energy to communicate through your vessel. That's more of a channel. But in essence, receiving this information, from higher self again. But also, so you see, like, a lot of times when I be like, man, I forgot what I was just talking about. a lot of you may be going through that a little more, where, you go to talking and like this and that and that and this, and then like, wait, where was I going with that? Or what I was just said, or what, that's gonna be happening a lot. Again, we being overwhelmed by certain energies, so little neurons is being overwhelmed, so you may not be able to hold on to all the little short-term memories. Long-term memory has a stronger connect. It's built over time compared to like short-term, where again, that's something you just said 5 seconds ago, and it makes sense. I'm like, it does make sense why the short-term would be something that could just go so quickly, because it was just born. You know what I'm saying? Like, short-term memory was just born in or should I say not short-term memory, but whatever you're talking about in the moment was just being said in this moment. So, which means it doesn't have a long lifespan compared to like stuff that happened when you was 3 years old and you was allowed to remember it all through life. So that been, strongly with you, compared to something you said a few seconds ago. It's like, all right, what I just said again. You know what I'm saying? So you may find yourself going through that vibe. Again, we being overwhelmed. A lot of energetic changes is going on within the body. The chakras, dealing with certain little, energies changing up. Matter of fact, and speaking of chakras, the Kundalini energy, the Kundalini, the serpent energy, and the root chakra. And matter of fact, speaking of that, let's see if I can bring out history right quick. But like the Kundalini, Matter of fact, when we practice, so all those videos that I got on yogic breathing or breathing techniques about doing the proper breathing, the yogic breathing techniques with the inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, and bringing the stomach out, like, go check out those videos. But that's, helps to stimulate the kundalini. And matter of fact, go check out any other older videos that I speak on kundalini energy, because I can't remember all the symptoms of awakened kundalini, but I know I'm a channel download some of it as I'm talking. But anyway, like when you're doing the yogic breath, and you're bringing that air in, and so that's causing that kundalini, that Christ seed energy to rise up the spine. You'll find that, like, you'll either, like, soon as you do it, you'll feel like where an energy that goes up to the medulla, and you can feel it in your pineal, or you may feel that energy stop somewhere along your spine. And wherever it stops along your spine is where a certain chakra is blocked and blocking the kundalini from rising. So if you take a yogic breath and you feel your spine, like you feel the energy, but it seems like the energy stopped by like your mid back, like around your heart, or like it feel like the energy, matter of fact, didn't even raise past the solar plexus, then that means that there's a block wherever, kind of like when, matter of fact, as above so below, making them games, like the little game at the fair where you take the big hammer and you hit it on that little thing and make the thing rise up. In essence, that's kind of like what's going on. And again, if we're not practicing that breath and getting strong in that area, when we're hitting the little thing, the little kundalini only going up so high, So it's like realizing where a block at with the kundalini. And again, a lot of us may be experiencing kundalini awakens. Trying to think, hot flashes is one that come to mind. You may be experiencing hot flashes. You may be experiencing like a pain in the pineal gland area. Just feel like something, like a pressure. Kind of like if you blew your nose, but like how when you blow your nose, but it like you might block it a little bit and feel like you're pushing some air into your ears and into the little, because this connected to the nostrils too, the little eye, the little parts of the eye that allows for the mucus to come out, but that's connected to the air too. But like that little block feeling, like you'll feel like a little pineal pressure. That's all I could think of. Of course, you may feel like some type of pain in the back, as well. Heat flashes. It's all that's coming to mind, and I'm not gonna say anything, just to, but again, you can go check out. I got videos that speak of the kundalini symptoms. As a matter of fact, I had a crystal prescription book that dealt with kundalini raising. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, other than red jasper is a great crystal for dealing with the kundalini, but also because the kundalini is a serpent energy, so crystals that deal with the serpent energy, whether it's not so much seraphonite, but serpentine, is a good crystal to deal with, and this is a septarian, which Sep also deals with the number 7. No coincidence that a serpent, because matter of fact, the letter S, that's another thing, words given a certain letter, S. So the reason why they use the letter S, because it slithers like a serpent S. It goes from this side to this side, just like how that energy rises up the kundalini, the Ida Pingala. Oh, that's ugly. Hold on. That was like a little DNA strand I tried, but like a little S, so it's no coincidence that, again, Sep, serpentine and septarian, and then, matter of fact, the September and the number 7, You got 7 chakras that Kundalini serpent passed through. You know what I'm saying? So you see that direct correlation. You know, in fact, also like where they got the word like Naga. You know, where it turned into Nagus Nagas. You know, dealing in Ethiopia with the, you know, basically like the emperor energy. I think Nagus Nagas is more correlated in that word to like an emperor or royalty or something like that. Can't recall. But again, you know, that Naga energy, that's the, you know, that Naga. That serpent energy. You know, the Nagas. But definitely you may feel a Kundalini, may have a Kundalini raising experience during this ascension, this energy spike, you know. And this may be ascension symptom, is feeling that Kundalini, you know, activation. Also, one that just kind of always come up, you know, a lot of times, like eating like you have a tapeworm, you know what I'm saying? Like you just got this overwhelming feeling to just like eat everything in sight, you know, is because, you know, your body, you know, energetic body has been doing all this downloading, doing all this movement. And it's another thing too, where it comes in handy to not be rigid. Like, you know, we got this subconscious programming of being rigid vegans and, you know, so when we have that urge for a pizza or a fudge round, like what I ate last night, you know, we like, oh man, oh no, I can't do that, or that's something bad, or this, you know, it's like, you know, just eat. Now, of course, that doesn't mean constantly, you know, you see where it is about integrating, you know, the masculine, feminine. You know, it's not always just going with the flow to just go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. Of course, you kind of like go with the flow, analyze it with a little logic, like, all right, sure, like, all right, cool, you know. But honestly, you want to kind of keep the logic out, you know, as much as possible during these times. Again, that's why I so much, like, you know, not to say we killing logic or not using it, but again, it's just in most cases, especially when people haven't done the work to quiet the mind, the logic could be very hindering during the spiritual growth. Because again, too, like, well, society in essence makes up a lot of our logic, you know, too. And a lot of things that society considers logical doesn't really go along with our spiritual growth, you know. Like telepathy is not a logical thing, you know what I'm saying? Like receiving information through energy is not a logical thing. A Kundalini raising is not a logical thing, you know. So again, not saying throw out knowledge, logic completely, but again, you know, not being overwhelmed by it either, you know. But again, you may have just a spike in your eating, wanting to eat, you know, just a lot of food. And then also becoming just tired out of the blue, like just feeling like, bro, I just gotta lay down somewhere, you know. So you might even just had, you know, drunk something that might gives energy, you know, whether it's something healthy or unhealthy, whether it's coffee or, you know, some type of fruit juice, whatever. You're like, damn, you know, I'm feeling, I just want to go lay down in the grass or go lay down somewhere. And that's another thing too. While dealing with this ascension energy, you know, it's always great to, you know, be earthing, like take off them shoes and go barefoot in the grass, you know, get in nature, just lay out in the grass for a little while, so your whole chakra system could feel a shamanic resonance equally, you know, compared to like just your lower chakras feeling the shamanic resonance, you know, laying down where all the chakras could feel the shamanic resonance, you know, that'll help as well, you know. But that's basically it. But matter of fact, yeah, just making sure, yeah, because I gotta make sure, you know, I'm just not leaving all. But don't be like, oh man, this is happening to me, that, you know, certain things on our spiritual growth is not going to be extremely logical, you know? So just keep that in the mind and just trust the process, trust the universe, you know. Again, keeping yourself in a, you know, positive vibration, you know. It's corny. Again, don't let the new age Cause that's how they again could trick you. Like they, like New Age movement, kind of bring up being nice and happy to a pretentious mode. But again, you're not trying to be pretentious with it, but you're not trying to be mad on purpose or negative on purpose. Like, you want to be as positive as possible, in an authentic manner, but yeah, bringing, practicing positive thoughts, keep making sure you're not around negative people, you know what I'm saying? Because that makes your spiritual growth, much more difficult when you acknowledging, or not say acknowledging, when you giving too much focus to these negative energies or to negativity, and being too much in your thoughts about the situation. Like, I want to eat this, but that's unhealthy because such and such said this is not healthy, and this and that, and Mercury and Gemini, mine, air sign, you know what I'm saying? Going through that airy vibe, That's why it's important to, be connecting with the inner source, strengthening the intuition, quieting the mind through meditation. You don't have to be in a lotus position to meditate. You could just lay out on your bed and just don't think about nothing. That's all it's about, is not trying to think about anything. And if a thought do pop up, just let it fly. Or look at my other videos to see details on that. But you're gonna be straight. It's all good. Just trust the process, trust higher self, trust the universe. You are the universe. Trust yourself. Peace. Happen now. Now's a vibrator course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.